So today I'll be interviewing Sethina. Sethina is a PhD student at the University of Cambridge, and I'd want her to share with us how she managed to attain this feat, transitioning from a master's in Ghana to ultimately a PhD at the University of Cambridge. So without wasting much time, let's get going. All right. So, Setlina, can you tell me a bit about yourself, where you had your primary education, your junior high, and then your senior high education?
Okay, so a brief introduction. Yeah, so I'm Sethina. I'm currently a PhD candidate at the University of Cambridge. My research focus is on exploring the genetic diversity of um, African pigs, with the prime focus on the Ashanti dwarf pig of Ghana. So, where I had my primary education in Ghana at Winston Salem International School in Kanishi.
Okay.
And then I moved on after my BC to Ghana Senior High School. It was then Ghana Secondary School. Yeah,
Okay.
so Ghana's, yes.
Okay.
And then in Ghana's, I studied general agriculture.
Oh, okay.
So I had that kind of combination there, chemistry, physics. So it was like a pure science combination, the chemistry, physics, elective maths. And then the only difference was that I didn't take the biology, I did general agriculture.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then from there I moved to KNUST to read agriculture. So
Okay.
my primary interest was in agriculture. Growing up, I just loved agriculture. I mean, when I was small, I wanted to be an air hostess, but
Okay.
as I was growing up, I developed inspiration from my dad. He works with CSIR,
Mm.
so sometimes he would just come and then he would be like, "Oh, in CSIR there are only 5 biologists in CSIR." So growing up, I just wanted to be a biologist and a plant or animal biologist. So after uni, I moved to animal research to do my national service. So
Okay.
that was where I got the inspiration to go in for my master's.
Okay.
Because when I was in the uni, I majored in animal science, and then my prime focus was on animal nutrition.
Okay.
But then when I got to animal research, I realized that the animal breeders were not a lot. They didn't have a lot of animal breeders and geneticists. And I think you could just count, there were just about 2 of them there at the whole institution. So I spoke to one of my bosses, who is a research scientist. So he was like, "Oh, there's this new topic in SNPs, that's single nucleotide polymorphism."
Okay.
I didn't know anything about that. I didn't major in genetics. I didn't major in breeding. So I went back, I read about it, and I was like, "Oh, well, this is something that could be very interesting." So he gave me a contact to somebody in Legon at the University
Okay.
of Ghana who became my supervisor.
Okay.
So when I remember the day I went to UG, I entered one lab, and then I spoke to one um, lady there, and then she was like, "Oh, this is what you want to do. So this is the person that will be good for you to work with." So that was all how it started, and then I ended up with my PhD in Cambridge.
Oh, okay. So then I would want to take it a bit backwards, then we'll come to where you are now. So at
Yeah.
KNUST, as at the time you were doing your undergrad, did you ever think of pursuing a career in research?
Well, as I said, growing up, I wanted to be a biologist, but not really. I didn't really think of, research. I
Okay.
didn't really think. I was just moving along. Yeah, that was with mine. I was just moving along with the flow. But then I didn't really have plans to move on onto academia or anything like that. Yeah.
All right.
So
And at the Animal Research Institute where you did your service, is it like a place where, like, what do they do there? And where is it located?
So animal research is part of the Council for Scientific and Industrial
Oh,
Research.
okay.
That's
All right.
CSIR.
Okay.
So they are. their major mandate, or what they do, is to research into
Animals.
animals.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
Okay.
from nutrition to breeding to whatever that goes on to make sure that livestock production is increased in Ghana. That is what they do there.
Okay.
So that was where I would say that I got a drive to go
Mm-hmm.
into research, because it was a research institution and I was working solely with the research scientists. So that was where I got the drive from to go into academia.
Oh, okay. Okay. And then so when you were there, when you were leaving that place to Legon, was it like a decision that was informed mainly because you worked at a research institute, or you already had plans to pursue your masters even in undergrad, but you just didn't know which field?
Exactly. Yeah, I actually had plans to move on to my master's, but I didn't know how I was
Okay.
going to go about it, as to
Okay.
which uni I should apply to. I
Mm.
really didn't know what to do. So when I got to animal research and I was working with the research scientists, I realized that, oh, this is something that will interest me to take up on, like to take on.
Oh,
So I think that was where it all started
okay.
from. Yeah,
Oh,
really. Yeah.
okay. So at Legon, what specific course did you take? What was the master's in?
So I did a master's in animal science,
Okay,
and
animal
then
science. Okay.
there I majored in animal breeding and genetics.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
And also, did you do any research in Legon also?
yeah. So it was, in fact, even at my undergraduate, I did a research there. So that was when I think I did a research on nutrition. It was on rice bran diets, so inclusion of rice bran diets in
Okay.
pig
Okay.
feed. Yeah,
Yeah.
so that was where I started,
Getting.
gaining that interest in
Mm-hmm.
research. But
Okay.
then, as I said, when I moved to animal
Animal
research,
research.
I started doing hands-on thing, in
Okay.
research. So I started working with them,
Mm.
how to write proposals and all that. So that was
Okay.
when I started learning all that,
All right.
going on the farm and then interacting with the farm hands there and then learning all that. That was where I got very interested in, you know, doing animal science
So
or
why
animal
like
research, if I may say.
okay. So was it like a precondition or a prerequisite for you to um do your masters before you could enroll in the PhD, or you could have gone directly after your service to the PhD?
I think in Ghana it's a prerequisite. It's you have to
Your
do your
masters.
masters. Yeah, I've even heard. I don't know how true it is that usually they don't even accept master of science. You should have a master of philosophy
Oh, MPhil.
before you can be, yeah, MPhil, before you can be enrolled on a PhD. You should have like a research based masters.
Okay.
Yes,
Oh, okay.
exactly. Yeah.
Interesting. So when the time came for you to apply for your PhD, was that also informed by your experience in Legon? And how did you even decide
Yeah.
to choose where you are? Because you could have equally gone to other countries or other schools. So how was that transition? What informed your decision?
I mean, even before going on to my master's, I applied to a lot of schools,
Mm,
not just the University of Ghana.
oh, okay.
I did a lot of application.
Okay.
I did a lot. I did to several countries. I made application to Canada, to Australia. I made applications to the UK. I
Mm,
had I had admissions. I mean, I
okay.
had lots of admissions, but then the problem was scholarship or
Mm,
funding. I wasn't getting. Sometimes you could get a partial funding. Sometimes you will not get any funding at all. So it was difficult. So when I got the admission in Legon, I mean, going on to pay um, about 7,000 pounds,
mhm.
or I remember when I got admission in the UK it was around 12,000 pounds, and you'll be given a partial funding,
Scholarship.
so you have to pay like 5,000 pounds. Even with 5,000 pounds, my dear, I couldn't afford that amount of money. You see,
Mm-hmm.
so when I got admission
Legon.
in Legon, I was like, why not? So I went on, and what happened was I was managing my farm in
Okay.
Ghana.
Okay.
So it also became a struggle whether to just leave my
Your
farm and
farm.
then travel
Mm-hmm.
abroad to further my education or take up the opportunity. I mean, it's a master's.
Uh-huh.
So take up the opportunity in the University
Ghana.
of Ghana, take up the admission that I got there, and then build up my farm before
Leaving.
moving on to yeah.
So with Legon also, was it a scholarship or you had to pay?
No, it wasn't a scholarship. I had to pay,
Okay.
but I mean, it was like, let's say, about £1,000,
Right.
and
For the
it
whole, how many
for
years?
the whole year.
So it was a 1 year master's?
No, it was a 2 year. I think I even went for about 3 years.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
So that is also another story for another time, because we didn't have the research that I was doing. We didn't have the skill, the tool there to do that kind of
Yeah,
research
research.
there.
Okay.
So that was what ended me up. That was how I ended up in Cambridge.
Okay. All right. Yes. So
Yes.
the Cambridge story is very interesting. So, because I know Cambridge is one of the best schools in the world. So, how did you apply to Cambridge? Did you take any exam? How was the whole application process like? Were you recommended by someone? What happened?
Okay, so what happened was, when I was doing my master's, I remember just as I said, I was made to go to Cambridge to do part of my research there.
Okay. Whilst in
Yeah.
Legon.
While I was in Legon.
So, did Legon sponsor that trip?
No, it wasn't a sponsored trip. So what
Okay.
happened was, my supervisor had a collaboration with the University of Cambridge.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so he wanted me to do that part of research and to gain the skill
Okay.
from Cambridge. So when I went there, it was very difficult. I mean, it was something that I hadn't done before,
Mm-hmm.
and it was quite interesting and difficult at the same time. I met lovely people that I was and currently working with.
Mm-hmm.
So they kind of helped me to develop that skill, because it's a new area that is not really done in Ghana.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that was how I ended up in Cambridge to do
The part of your master's.
part of my master's there. So while there, I spoke to my supervisor in Cambridge
Okay.
that I'm interested in doing a PhD. So
Oh,
what would
okay.
she advise?
Okay.
So I requested for an advice, and she was like, "Oh, well, she there's no funding. The usual story. There's no funding,
Mm-hmm.
and as at that time, there was somebody else going to take up the lab, and like transition and all that. It's
Mm-hmm.
difficult.
Mm-hmm.
So if anything comes up, she'll let me know." But then I didn't stop there. I applied to lots of schools. I got admissions in other schools as well. I got admission in Nottingham University.
Was it
I
also
got
a fully
admit
funded scholarship?
Well, that same scholarship I'm on in Cambridge could be.
Oh, okay. So what scholarship are you on?
So I'm on Schlumberger Faculty for the Future Fellowship.
So then I'm interested in that because I've never heard about it. So
Exactly. Lots of people don't know about that scholarship. It's
so
just for females in science.
females in science, okay. And the awarding institution, is it in Ghana? Where are they located?
Well, I think it's in Paris.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
in
and
Paris.
and so what do they take care of? Do they pay your fees, your research?
Yeah. So what they do is they take care of your tuition and then your stipend.
Oh wow. So your tuition is so okay, basically your supervisor is taking care of your lab stuff, the things that you need.
Exactly. Yeah.
And and so how does it work? Did you need to get admissions first before you could apply for that particular scholarship or
Well, I remember when I was putting in the application, you don't necessarily have to gain the admission first. So
okay,
you put in when you're applying, you just say that, oh, well, you choose two schools that you are applying to.
okay,
So then I'd apply to Cambridge, Nottingham, and Melbourne.
okay,
Yeah, so I dropped that list there, and you would need a host supervisor,
oh,
and
okay,
your home supervisor
all
would
right,
have to give you reference.
okay,
Yeah.
oh, okay, I get. So it's more like you just need someone like a guarantor, someone to say that I'm willing to supervise you and
Yeah,
then put in your application.
exactly.
So around 1 month did the application come and around 1 month did you report to Cambridge?
Well, I think you apply in November. I'm not. It's been like 2 years
Okay.
now. So I think you apply in November,
Okay.
and then you get the results somewhere in March.
Okay.
Yeah, you get the results somewhere in. And it's very, very, very competitive.
All right.
It's very, very competitive.
All right.
Yeah.
So, like, what in your own opinion, what do you think they look at? Is it your GPA or the research you had done,
Well,
or
I think they look at a lot of things. Your GPA counts. Your research also counts. It should be a research that is focused on your country, and
oh,
you should be involved in reaching out to girls to take up STEM
oh,
courses.
okay.
Yeah, you should be able to reach out to lots of girls who are interested and to motivate lots of girls to get into the STEM careers.
So in that
Yeah.
case, sorry, is it like you putting it on your CV as girls you've mentored, or how do they verify
Yeah,
that information?
yeah. So you have to tell them, the things that you are doing at the time. Because I had my farm, and I used to get lots of girls coming in to the
Okay.
farm. So I teach them that farming is an aspect of science,
Mm-hmm.
and it was a farming community that the farm was
Situated
located.
in. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah. And then you find most of these girls going onto the farm to help their parents, but then they don't think that is science enough.
Okay.
So, me coming from the city to back to the village to live in the village with them, motivating them that what, I'm from the city and I'm here doing farming here. But then you can also do it. I mean, what you are doing is science enough.
Mm-hmm.
You going to the farm, helping your parents, growing cassava, growing, um, okra and all that.
Mm-hmm.
You're actually doing science.
Mm-hmm.
You only need to get the skill, the knowledge, and then you come back and then you realize that something that probably your parents are doing that is not right. You
Mm-hmm.
may be able to correct that, and that is how we will grow our agricultural sector.
Oh, okay.
So that was how I kind of motivated the young girls in the area to take up their education seriously. So my place was always open to them. They always come in, and then we have chats. Sometimes even when there's a problem in the village I was living in, they come to me. I mean, they see me as an opinion leader. They come to me, and then they request for help.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes some parents will come and then they'll tell me to talk to their wards, to go to school, to be like me. I mean, it was like an inspiration for them.
Which community was that?
That is around the Bojase, Adesu Road.
Oh,
It's
okay.
a village called Tupiase.
That's around in the Eastern region, or?
Well, where it's actually located at a very good, it's between Central region and Eastern region
Oh,
and
okay.
Greater Accra region.
Hmm.
Yeah, so it joins the three
Okay.
regions together. Yeah,
Oh, okay. Interesting. Okay. So it was on your CV that you had mentored these girls, right?
exactly.
Right. So as at the time the application, the results of the scholarship came, and then your admissions to Cambridge, were the two like almost at the same time, or you
So
can
my
secure the
admission,
scholarship
no, you have to gain admission.
first? All right.
So during the interview stage,
Okay.
you must have gained your admission.
Oh, okay.
So what happened was I had a conditional offer from both Cambridge and University of Nottingham.
All right. And what
Yeah,
condition did you have to satisfy?
I had to. By then, I was on my master's program, so I had to
Oh,
submit my
finish.
master's
All
thesis,
right. Okay.
my English language requirements, and obviously the funding.
So
It's also a condition.
English requirement, did you have to take an exam?
So it was like a Cambridge-based exam. So I didn't have to do that for University of Nottingham.
Okay. But you
Yeah,
had
but
to do
then
it for
for
Cambridge.
Cambridge, yes, for Cambridge it's a requirement for everybody.
So
So
you
you
took it in
do.
Ghana.
I took it in Ghana. It's an online test that you do.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I'm still interested in this scholarship. Is this something only for PhDs, or you can
Yeah,
do
it's
it
only
for?
for PhD and postdocs.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, and for females
And
from developing country, low and middle income countries.
and can you do it in any country, or they have specific
Yeah,
countries?
you can do it in any developed country.
Oh, okay. So even
Yeah,
the
so
US,
in the US,
Canada, anywhere.
Europe, Canada, anywhere.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Oh,
so we
okay.
have fellows everywhere.
All right. So anyone taking any STEM course can apply to that particular scholarship.
Exactly.
All right. So and then they will look at your undergraduate, your master's work.
Your
Do you need to
master's.
have a master's before?
And you need a strong reference. I mean,
Okay.
you need a very strong reference from your home institution that
That's okay.
you will return,
Okay.
because we have to return and then
But
help
our
our
country.
country as well.
All right.
Exactly. We all can't remain here. So that's the main aim, is to develop women to go back and take up STEM careers and then help develop our countries.
So with the funding, are they going to fund you irrespective of the number of years you would be there, or it's for?
It's for 3 to 4 years.
Okay.
But
So
then every year you have to meet the condition. Every year every year we do a renewal of grants.
okay.
And if you are not performing, you are not publishing, they don't see any interest of you returning, they don't see you grooming young girls,
Mm-hmm.
they don't see all that, I don't think they will renew
Your
your
contract.
funding. Yeah, so it's not just when you are giving the funding you just relax. No, you still work.
All right. So if you're talking about renewing your grant, does it mean you had to put in a proposal as in what you were going to do?
No, so for the renewal, you don't put in a proposal. No,
Okay.
you don't.
Just
You
nothing
don't
like
put
that.
in. So you just tell them what you are doing.
Okay.
So it's like a form that you fill your progress. So
Mm,
it's like what you've been able to achieve, your achievements. You state everything, and then they consider you based on your achievements. If
okay.
you are doing well, obviously they and it's a very supportive scholarship. They are always there to support you. And I'm also funded by the Cambridge Trust as well. So
You have
I get that funding from Cambridge Trust that supports my tuition fees, and then Schlumberger also comes in
take
to
care of the
help
rest. All
to
right.
take care of the rest as well.
All right.
Yeah.
So in the US, for example, you don't need a master's to pursue
Mm,
your PhD, which means that if you're in Ghana and you are coming to the US for a PhD, you can submit an application for the scholarship, right?
yeah. And even in the UK, I think you don't need a master. Some it depends on
That's true. Okay.
your GPA or your CWA as well. Sometimes you may not need the masters to go on a PhD.
Mm,
Yeah.
all right. Interesting. So let's say I'm done with the scholarship and I want to pursue a postdoc. Okay. Would they still require me to go home immediately after my PhD, or
Yeah.
they still would require me, which means
Yeah.
I have to go. And how many years would I have to
I
serve
think it's
before I
two
can?
years.
2 years. And after that 2 years, I can come back and
Yeah.
pursue a postdoc.
You
So
still have to apply.
again,
And again, you
yeah.
still have to apply.
But what if I'm not going to depend on them, but I just
No,
want to pursue
if you're not going to depend on them, I don't think it's going to be a problem. If,
for the
for
postdoc?
instance, you get like a fellowship, a different fellowship to
Mhm.
fund you for a postdoc, I mean, I don't think it's going to be a
So
problem
it
for
might not be
you.
necessary to go home before pursuing the
No,
postdoc.
no,
Okay, but
no.
if I want them to, then I have to go back
Exactly.
before I can pursue
Yeah.
the postdoc.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think, they are understanding. You can just, talk with them that I have gained this postdoc,
Hmm.
and I mean, I want to develop my skill further. And it's all about, the higher you go, the more contacts you get, the collaborations you're able
Hmm.
to set for yourself. And I mean, it's just going to benefit your country
Hmm.
in return. So
Yeah.
when you develop the collaborations and you get back, you can still be working with them. So I don't think it's much of a problem. You just have to be in, that it's a very understanding scholarship body. They're very friendly, they're very understanding, and they take us as individuals. So they don't say, oh, they consider you as an individual, and then per your individual needs,
All right.
you are sorted. Exactly.
And also, so for your PhD, I'm coming back to your PhD.
Oh, that's
That
fine.
the topic you are pursuing now, was this something you had to come up with by yourself, or your supervisor was the one that carried it for you?
No, so I came up, I actually designed my own proposal.
Mm.
So that is another challenge that I get from people most often. So I get people in my DM saying, I want to do this program. Please, can you give me a topic? Oh my dear.
Yeah. Okay.
That would be a very difficult thing for me to do.
Mm-hmm.
If you bring me a proposal and you say, this is what I have written, this is my idea, what do you think? Then I can be able to guide you. But then if you come and you're like, give me a topic, it's very different. I don't know what your interest is.
Mm-hmm.
So I may not be able to offer you the help that you need. But then if you come and then you tell me that this is what you have developed, even if it's like a skeleton, something that to you might not be good, and you bring it, I may be able to help you. So most often I don't advise people to ask for topics. Just go around. There are several search engines. You can Google is there. You can Google your idea, and then you can get a related, topic, and then you can coin something up, write a proposal, and then give it to somebody you think may be of help, and then the person may help you rather than going into people's DMs and then asking for topics. It really doesn't help. Yeah.
And so with your PhD, hopefully after that, what are your plans? I mean, when you come back to Ghana, what are your plans? What are you trying to do? What will you be doing?
Yeah, so I want to continue my research. I want to own a lab, first of all. Exactly. I want to establish more collaborations with people. I mean, our colleagues that we work with, they are our future collaborators. Yeah, so I want to go further with my research, and then build the animal industry in Ghana. Yeah, through research. Yeah.
So in that case, are you thinking about like affiliating yourself with a school or setting up a private lab? Like, what's the
Oh
plan?
yeah, I definitely would love to associate myself with a school first. Yeah, because I need to still learn. I mean, I need to still learn with the seniors in 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 the schools. Yeah, so I just can't go back now and then establish my own lab. I need to work together with understudy people who are already in the system, and then gain the knowledge and then take it up from there.
And then also, I'm just interested in this. So with your master's in Ghana and then your PhD in UK, did you need to take any coursework in the UK to top up or make up for the areas where you were deficient, or you just started the research upfront?
Well, so in the UK, we don't take coursework, we take trainings.
All right.
Yeah, so there are lots of trainings. So as you work, you do your research, you take trainings. When you get into your PhD, you realize that there are areas that you are deficient. So you can take training courses in those areas. I mean, in Cambridge, there are lots of. For instance, I was quite deficient in bioinformatics, and now I'm doing genomics, and I'm using bioinformatic tools. So I had to learn from the scratch. Coming from animal breeding, we're not doing, that kind of coding and all that. It was very difficult for me. I mean, I had to learn coding on my own.
So you learned that in the UK?
Yeah.
All right. So was that during the time of your master's or your PhD?
No, so I started with my master's during during that master's period, I could say that, what I was doing, I didn't really understand what I was doing. Okay. Yeah, I didn't really understand what I was doing. Yeah, so, but it was a build up for me. It was a build up. I always tell people that when you even get to conferences and you realize that people are using, that huge text, most people sitting there don't even know what what you are talking about. Yeah, so you just go with the flow, but then as much as possible, make sure you have the spirit to learn.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter if it's somebody, your junior, who probably you might think, that person is your junior. You should learn from everybody. So far as you don't have the skill and somebody has the skill, you should be able to learn that skill from that person.
All right.
So that is what helped me anyway. So
So what programming tool or language do you use? Is it like the for your bioinformatic like analysis? What
yeah,
tool
so
are
I use R, I use Python,
all right. Okay.
yeah, and
And
then
I
I
mean
use Plank as well,
all right.
yeah.
Okay. So yeah, so I mean R is I know it's free. I mean
R is
anyone
free,
can download it. So
exactly,
I mean if you're interested you can just download R and then start learning how to code in R. So
yeah,
well, that's very interesting. So yeah, because I know bioinformatics, you deal with huge data, and then you
huge
doing
data,
genetics too. You'll be doing a lot
yeah,
of sequencing and all that. So
exactly,
you do the sequencing and everything in your lab.
mm-hmm.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's nice. And so your topic, you said something about African dwarf something.
yeah.
So how do you get that breed of? Do you have someone
Ashanti
sending the
dwarf
samples
pig.
to you?
So what happened was, we did the DNA extraction. So we've collected data and everything already. We
Also, you
have
have the
some.
samples from Ghana.
Yeah, so we
Okay,
extracted the DNA from the samples in Ghana,
okay,
and then we flew it to the UK
okay.
to do the analysis.
All right. So what exactly are you looking for in that particular breed? What are you
So
looking
we are
for?
just looking out for, the genetic diversity
Oh, in them.
those
Okay.
in
I
those pig population. Looking out for traits like disease resistant traits.
okay.
Looking out for so I have another colleague who is studying something else. So I'm looking at disease resistant traits. He's looking at goat traits.
Also from Ghana.
Yeah, so he's at the University of Ghana, but then we are
Oh,
still
you're
collaborating.
collaborating. Oh, okay.
Exactly.
All right. So, why is there anything special about that breed? Like, what's so special about them? And is it something that you will find only in Ghana?
Yes, yes, yes. The Ashanti dwarf pig is a black pig and
Okay.
found in Ghana. It's known to be resistant to, or let me say, resilient to the African swine fever disease,
Oh,
and
interesting.
lot of diseases as well.
Hmm.
I think about 2 years ago, Roslin Institute in Edinburgh, they did a research. They were trying to use CRISPR to cut out the gene that is associated with African swine fever disease. And
Okay.
I mean, we have a pig in Ghana that is believed to
Be
be
resistant to.
resilient to that
Hmm.
African swine fever disease. So, how about
Looking.
studying that, looking at the its genetic makeup
Mhm.
to find out the genes that are associated to its resilience in
Swine
that
flu and all
in
those.
swine flu and all that exactly.
Wow.
So that is what my research is
Interesting.
about.
This just out of curiosity. So when I
Mm.
consider the black pig, and I know other pigs look pinkish.
Exactly. So and my previous study, we realized that not all black pigs in Ghana may be Ashanti dwarf
Dwarf.
pigs.
Oh, okay.
So we did an admixture analysis where we were able to characterize them based on their population. So the admixture actually divides them into
Different
populations and
populations.
ancestry. Yes,
Hmm.
so it looks at the ancestry. So which animal is of which this ancestry and which animal is of that ancestry. So we were able to identify some pure lines of the some possible pure lines of the Ashanti dwarf pig.
Hmm.
And then our next study is to sequence those pigs,
Okay.
and then to identify the genes that are associated with some traits,
Diseases.
economic important
Okay.
traits in
All
them.
right.
Yeah.
All right. That's very interesting. All right. So, I mean, you went to KNUST, you did a Greek. So, what do you have to tell, I mean, your junior colleagues who are currently in school, who are also thinking of pursuing their studies outside? Because I know not everyone might be fortunate to end up in the Animal Research Institute at CSIR.
Exactly.
So, what would be your advice? What kind of corners can they cut to help them realize these goals? Because luckily for you, you had a chance to pursue research or be in a research environment, and that's why
Mhm.
you are here. What about someone who probably was posted to be probably a teacher in another school or someone who was posted to a place that has nothing to do with agriculture, how
Yeah.
can such people cut corners to also pursue their dreams?
I mean, there's nothing like cutting corners anyway. There's nothing like cutting corners. Um, there are several schools and there are people who are willing to help. You can walk into any institution and ask for help.
Okay.
Even if you're a teacher, I mean, you can read why. There are search engines available. Google is available. What you want to do, you just type in scholarships available to Ghanaian students, scholarships available to blah, blah, blah. You just put in all that and then the results just come out. Yeah. So it doesn't matter wherever you are. I mean, solution is everywhere.
Okay.
No
So
matter
how?
where you find yourself, you can get a solution. People are available to help you. You can just walk into any office that you think people may be of help to you, and then you can get there and then get or find solutions from them. Yeah.
So this is my last question to you. How did you hear about that scholarship? Was it from a search engine or someone told you about it?
It was actually through a friend. So what I always tell people is that, as I said earlier on, your friends become your collaborators. So you work together with your friends and then you get information from them.
Okay. So if that friend received that scholarship in the
Yes.
past. Oh, okay.
Yes.
So that friend
And
was
she
also.
also got it to a friend.
Oh, okay.
And so that is how you get information. So
All right.
you don't leave your friends, and then you go on your own. You get
Yeah.
information right from within,
Mm-hmm.
you see. So, and you can, as I said, I didn't really know so much of these things. Like, we didn't have these Zoom calls and all that, people sharing their stories and all that. But now, I'm sharing my story.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so you can just go. If I had known, I would have just gone to Google and then type in that scholarships available for. I was actually focusing on going to the US too.
Okay.
So I was learning wide. I was learning GRE,
Mm-hmm.
how to. So I got some books and all that too. But as I said, I couldn't also leave my farm. So I was like,
Mm-hmm.
why would I travel at that stage? It's a very young business. I couldn't have left that business alone.
Mm-hmm.
So I just had to develop it to a stage before I can move on. And it just worked out this way.
Okay. All right. That's very inspirational, and thank you very much for sharing your story with me. I mean,
Oh,
I believe most of the young ones out there, when they watch it, at least in your case, it would favor, I mean, the girl child or women in
exactly.
STEM. So I
Yeah.
believe at least most of you were saying
But what
something.
I want to add, sorry, what I want to add is, just as I said, you can just go to the school's website. They usually publish all the scholarships they have available there.
Okay.
Even this Schlumberger scholarship, some schools have it on their
Yes.
website that these
Oh,
are
okay.
possible scholarships that you can apply to.
Okay. All right.
These are possible scholarships that you can apply. So you just go to the school's website. They have the Commonwealth Shared Scholarship. Chevening Scholarship is there. So most of the schools put out these scholarships on their website,
Mm-hmm.
and some schools would only ask you whether you want to be considered for blah 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 scholarship. You take. So if you take all the scholarship that is available to you in that, if you fit in any of the category, they just pull out all the scholarship and then they run across to see where you qualify. Obviously, if you qualify, you get it. I'm not sure that if I didn't qualify, I would have been chosen, because even for the Schlumberger, I went for a conference and I met one lady from Nigeria and she told me I applied for this scholarship, but I didn't get it.
Okay.
So it's actually told me how fortunate I was to be
Selected
selected.
first. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. And if you have any challenge, you can reach out to anybody who has had, but don't go to the person and ask the person to apply for that, to apply, because
For you.
that
Yeah.
person is actually working on his or
Something
her
else.
work or a PhD or whatever. And then when you go and you're like, please can you apply for this thing for me? The person will not mind you. But if you are on the application and then you go and like, please, I need help with this. Can you help me with this? The person will be like, oh yeah, you really mean you really know what you want and you are going for it. So the person will be willing to help you. But then if you don't,
Mm-hmm.
come on, you won't get the help. Yeah. So that's the little advice.
All right. All right. So yeah, I mean, if anyone is watching, you've heard this, and Sethina, thank you very much for making time to share your story. Like I said, I believe it's going to really help. I mean, girls in science, not only those who are
Exactly.
pursuing agriculture. Because
Yeah.
personally, I've never heard of this scholarship before.
Mm.
This is my first time, so I believe at this too, it would be the same story. This would be their first time of hearing it, and it's going to help them also. So thank you very much, and it was nice having you.
It's always nice having you.
I thank you. All right, so